If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train beside vaccinated people.
Like, are you in favor of continuing the vaccine mandate for travel? Do you think it's an effective method?
Yes, I do.
How come?
Because you're limiting people coming in that are possibly bringing in, COVID. So
How come right now you could get on a bus from Toronto to Montreal, you can get on a bus, right? But if you were to try and go on a plane, you have to have a vaccine. But if the point is to stop the spread, if it's dangerous to get on a plane without a vaccine, why are they allowing human beings to pack buses that are unvaccinated, but they can't go on a plane and do that? Does that make sense?
no, it doesn't make sense. No, I agree. It doesn't make sense. But same with the subway too.
If you want to travel, take the fucking vaccines. Otherwise, shut the fuck up.
There's blatant hypocrisy in some of these decisions. And even with the streetcars being packed, masks are on, masks are off.
As it stands, requiring 2 COVID vaccines has been proven to, reduce the effects of the COVID virus in a lot of cases.
I'd love to see it lifted. I'd love to go travel and not have to worry about the nonsense. I think other countries are handling it in a much better manner.
Lincoln J for Rebel News here in Kensington Market in downtown Toronto. Now, with countries all across the world starting to lift their vaccine mandates for air travel, I want to know, when is Canada going to lift their mandates? Are they going to lift the mandates? It just seems like Canada is a step behind of other countries when it comes to lifting restrictions, easing mandates. We just saw Air New Zealand just removed their mandate for air travel. So we're seeing all these countries slowly moving their mandates. Why is Canada not doing the same? I mean, right across the border in America, on the same land that I'm standing on right now, you can go on a plane, no vaccine requirements. Now you don't even have to wear a mask on those planes. Yes, I understand things are starting to look better in Canada. Almost all the mask mandates are dropped. Almost all businesses are back to full capacity. But the reality is there's many Canadians who are not able to simply board a flight and leave this country. I mean, when you really start to look into the matter, you see that this might not make that much sense. I could literally get on a bus right now in Toronto, take it to Montreal, and they will not check my COVID-19 vaccination status at all. But if I were to try to take that same trip on a flight from Toronto to Montreal, I may not be allowed to board it depending on my vaccination status. So I'm here in Kensington Market. I want to find out what some of the people here in Toronto think about this. Is the government going to remove the mandates anytime soon? Just get their overall opinions and ask, does this make sense to them? Let's check it out. So right now you need 2 doses to get on, 2 vaccine doses to get on a plane, right? Do you think the Canadian federal government has any plans to lift that? What are your thoughts on that situation?
I don't think they have any plans to lift that. And I think COVID is still a very real concern. And I think that we're still in a very precarious situation.
So I don't really think that the government has any plans to ease those mandates. And as it stands, requiring 2 COVID vaccines has been proven to, reduce the effects of the COVID virus in a lot of cases.
I think they do eventually. They're going to feel the pressure and they're going to lift it. Yeah.
It's not going to change anytime soon, I think. They want to just give us a bit of freedom, and then so that people just get all excited, and then soon it's going to just get back to mess,
I don't think it's coming anytime soon. I think it's maybe going to be 6 months to another year until this turns into an endemic, not a pandemic. So I think it's going to be like that for a while.
Knowing Canada, it's one of the strictest country with regard to the COVID laws, and I don't think they're going to actually ease the restrictions that quick.
I don't know, but I do think that they might remove it soon, especially because I think the travel regulations have been changing quite quickly.
I definitely think it's a little taste of freedom, but what's the state right now? Can you travel if you're not vaxxed? No, you can't, right? So, I don't know. I want to be hopeful. Is it realistic? I don't know.
Hopefully they have plans to scrap that shit, because I pay fuck with that, But the government, like.
Why do you think that other countries are dealing with COVID in other ways? They're kind of moving past it. Like the U.S. just dropped their mask mandate, so you don't need a vaccine or a mask to get on a plane. Why is Canada taking a different approach?
Healthcare system is very different down in the States than it is here.
Honestly, I'm trying not to think about it too much. I just hope that we can make some better decisions, and ultimately I think it's all of our faults because we've got to vote better authorities into, I'm not an anarchist by any means. I just think we have to vote better decision makers into Parliament.
I can't tell you. I think that there are political, we have an election coming up, which I think holds a lot of weight. Personally, I think masks should be allowed on planes, or the mask mandate should still be in effect on planes. But I can't tell you.
I have no idea actually, but I think it's a different style of governance, and also I don't know. I think Canadians, or like the Canadian government, is just so strict with laws and don't see the other point of view of it.
I have decided to not keep up with the news because it's no longer my interest. Because it's been wishy-washy, right? Like when your source of information is not reliable, then it becomes difficult to keep track of what they're saying.
The King government is just an entity, and there is something much deeper behind that. So I think they are just wording certain things from other entities that are actually the decisions makers.
Trudeau has major stock investments in the vax, so that's the simple answer.
I don't really know, yo. Like, as long as I have my fucking vaccines, I'm good. If the other people don't want to fucking take their vaccines, it's their fucking problem. If you want to travel, take the fucking vaccines. Otherwise, shut the fuck up.
So why are you able to go? So right now you can get on a bus in Toronto to Montreal, no vaccines, packed bus. But if you were trying to go on a flight, right, from Toronto to Montreal, same thing, packed, you need vaccines to go on the flight.
Yeah.
But if it was really dangerous like that, how come you're allowed to go on the bus, spread the virus, but you can't go on the flight? You know?
Right.
Why is it like that?
Yeah, it's stupid, yo. They have these fucking, contradictory... or contradictory, or how you say?
Contradictions, right?
Yeah, all these fucking contradictions that doesn't fucking make sense. And at the end you have to fucking follow the rules. The system is all about that shit, right? So you don't want to get in trouble, just do what the fuck they are saying.
Are you in favor of continuing the vaccine mandate for travel? Do you think it's an effective method?
Yes, I do.
How come?
Because you're limiting people coming in that are possibly bringing in, COVID. So
how come right now you could get on a bus from Toronto to Montreal, you can get on a bus, right? But if you were to try and go on a plane, you have to have a vaccine. But if the point is to stop the spread, if it's dangerous to get on a plane without a vaccine, why are they allowing human beings to pack buses that are unvaccinated, but they can't go on a plane and do that? Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense. No, I agree. It doesn't make sense. But same with the subway, too. I was on the subway yesterday. It's packed in there. And I'm right up against other people.
My response to that is that there should be some level of requirement to do the same on a bus, because if we're supposed to be trying to curtail the spread of this virus and it has been out of control, then we should be willing to take more steps to do that.
There's blatant hypocrisy in some of these decisions, and even with the streetcars being packed, masks are on, masks are off. It's very confusing, and it's frankly hypocritical when there's one thing's okay and one thing's not. Even the bars you'll go to are packed and full of people.
No, I think it's very difficult to make sense of a lot of the stuff that's going on right now, and I try not to think about it too much. Just wake up, try and be grateful, and like I said, make better decisions when we're voting people into power.
That makes no sense to me. So I'm glad you're asking these questions so that someone can make sense of this.
Yo, I think that there's a money scheme behind all of this shit. When they have the certain arrangements and the way they set this stage up, I feel like that the upper class people, them get to keep their private jets and private yachts and shit,
There's nothing else to say. It's it makes no sense. Me coming, I'm permanent resident, but I could just travel if I want to, and not having any vaccine because I'm a French citizen, and then come back as a Canadian resident, and they cannot refuse any of that.
Do you personally think it's an effective method? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely not. I'd love to see it lifted. I'd love to go travel and not have to worry about the nonsense. I think other countries are handling it in a much better manner.
Nah, fuck the mandates don't work. That you know, they're just trying to restrict the people and make people like have less options and shit, you know, and keep them inside their yard and like, you know, trying to fuck up the next generation.
Psychological warfare. That's it.
Canadian government is going to drop the federal vaccine mandate for traveling.
Not on my list, sorry.
Not on the list. The list. Go to our website at fightvaccinepassports.com. If you can, please make a donation to our legal fight against these unjust measures.